Stock Talk. Hi.
How's it going?
You trading?
Yeah, I'm always trading. I'm always day trading, but I saw you guys in here talking about Ethereum, so
Yeah.
I was just
Can you
peeking in.
give us your thoughts on the all-time highs on Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Yeah, I think the market sentiment for crypto looks good. I'm really like a momentum and theme trader in the markets, especially. Obviously, I've increased my crypto exposure a lot over the last few years, but I really think the momentum in cryptocurrencies in general is really strong going into the end of the year. Typically October through December, just seasonality wise, is a good time for anything speculative. We always get that Santa Claus rally headed into December, or we usually do at least. And I think last year, coming out of the pandemic, the rally we saw in crypto, off the bottoms. Like, last year Bitcoin, you could have gotten it for as little as 5,000 just last year. That's crazy to think about. You could have got
Yes.
Ethereum for $100 just last year. Like,
Yes.
thinking about that is, people see these cost bases on certain people, and they're like, "Oh my God, when did you buy it? Like 5 years ago?" And a lot of these people are like, "No, I just literally bought it last year." But so I think that there was opportunity for a lot of retail traders to get in last year who have now become really loyal crypto holders, and I think that that's responsible for a lot of this. This run in Bitcoin has been a lot more stable than the bull runs in the past. Even despite the volatility, it's had a lot better level definition. It's consolidated on key levels, for longer periods of time. There are signs to me of like an improving shareholder base. Like, even when I'm trading stocks, I look for stocks that have given multiple opportunities for people to get into the stock at a good value, and that creates, it lowers the effective float, because when you're thinking about cryptos, right? Like, there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin that'll ever be mined. And because of that, there is an effective free float the same way there is for stocks. And the more holders you have, the better chance you have for longer periods of consolidation and then bigger upside moves, right? Like, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. That's always been true for any kind of asset that's publicly traded. So I really love the sentiment in crypto going forward. I think Bitcoin to 100K soon is inevitable. I think Ethereum to 10K probably early
Yeah.
next year is
Yep.
very inevitable. Outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, though, I think a lot of the other projects are going to have to develop that level of loyalty in the shareholder base to have the same level of price consolidation and breakouts that Bitcoin and Ethereum have been able to do. But yeah, I think it'll take a while for some of the other, alternative projects, altcoins, even some of these meme coins and shit coins. It took, Doge circled out probably hundreds of holders before it ever, got to that 25 cent level. Like, so there's always the factor of shareholder bases, and in crypto, I think with the momentum you're seeing over the course of the last year and a half, especially, like, I think it's really bullish, and more institutional adoption. But to me, really, the crux of the crypto argument always comes down to not necessarily the institutional adoption or the corporate adoption, which obviously helps. And we've seen a lot of that this year. Whether it's the Bitcoin ETFs or Square and Tesla putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, or MicroStrategy basically going from, a software services company to now basically just a Bitcoin company. We've seen the corporate adoption for sure. We're seeing the institutional adoption. The next step to me really is streamlined government adoption, and that doesn't just mean regulation. For me, in my opinion, for the use case of Bitcoin, especially Ethereum, I think can thrive either way, but for the use case of Bitcoin, especially, and really any other, currency-driven assets, when you're talking about, like, these utility coins or currency coins that are supposed to have a use case, I think the big question is government adoption, and not by El Salvador. I mean by, like, real governments with real power. And that is the crux of the question. That's always. I am a crypto bull, but I always like to keep both sides, and that's the one bearish outlook I've always had is, what at what stage do the biggest governments of the world put their hands up and say, all right, we're going to forfeit our control of the money supply, and let people transact through Bitcoin in every avenue of life. Like, I don't know if and when that's going to happen, and I don't know if it doesn't
Stock
happen.
Talk. I
Like,
think your phone cut out.
oh, did it? Where did it cut out at? I don't know.
No, we can still hear you.
Oh,
Oh.
okay, okay. Maybe it was just for Christine. But yeah, I think government adoption is really the crux. Like, what at what stage does cryptocurrency? I mean, we're talking about, I think the value of all cryptocurrencies last week passed 3.1 trillion for the first time ever. So that's a lot of money. But at what point does the net value of the world's assets in cryptocurrency pose a danger to countries like China, the United States, India, the United Kingdom, countries with, trillions and trillions of dollars of economic influence over the global economy? At what point do those countries feel threatened by cryptocurrency? I don't know if they already do. I don't know if that'll happen when it hits a 10 trillion crypto cap. I don't know if it'll happen when it hits a 20 trillion crypto cap. I don't know. But what I do know is I hesitate to believe that the world governments are just going to be like, yeah, you guys win. I don't know. I
No,
would say that's my negative outlook. And for the most part, I am bullish, but that's my only caveat.
I think that's fair to mention, to say that, hey, when's a major government going to actually be able to give up that kind of power? And I mean, we'll see. And I do think maybe we will get there. There will be, some mid-tier government that probably wants to try it first. But yeah, I can agree with that sentiment. One thing you said early on that I wanted to mention that has to do with the all-time high conversation is, you said, we kind of can sometimes see this Santa Claus run getting into November and December, and it could make these all-time highs we're seeing with Bitcoin and ETH and a lot of other tokens and coins, really go high. And I agree with that. And I think it's kind of a silly reason why, at least in the States, in the United States. It's where, you meet with your family during Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, Uncle Bob and Aunt Sally are saying, I've heard about this Bitcoin thing. And, you are we're all going to be the experts at the dinner. And, they ask about it and they start wanting to invest in it because they get that FOMO. They want to start getting, involved. To me, that's what you really see go above and beyond of an all-time high. And I think that's what we saw in 2017 to 2018. And as much as press as cryptocurrencies are getting over the last few months, I think we're going to see that happen towards the end of the year too. Is that generation that may not be very interested in crypto is going to start getting really interested again, maybe to their detriment. I don't know, because they may be the ones that drive it to 100K, and maybe
Yeah.
they right at 100K.
It's the word of mouth effect, right? Like, financial ideas, you can text your friend, hey, buy this stock or buy this crypto, right? And maybe your friend will, but like financial ideas, just historically, this is just more of a psychological point. Financial ideas, or, people investing their money or making financial decisions, it's always better conveyed in person. And so when you have like, everybody with their families over a 2 month period, like you said, like the word of mouth is just better conveyed. And that might seem like a silly point to make, but it is true. And that's typically why you see these Santa Claus rallies, is because, twofold actually. The main primary driver is institutions who may have underperformed the market or underperformed other institutions. Managers who are looking for bonuses are looking to be more risky going into the end of the year because they want that upside potential. So that's been part of it. But it's also this word of mouth effect with people congregating with large groups of people, whether it's their family or friends, and sharing ideas. I mean, that's, the dawn of cryptocurrency really came from word of mouth. Before you had your Coinbases and these big exchanges where people can just make an account and buy cryptos, it was, when it was harder to get into cryptocurrency years ago. That's really what drove the entire trend, was just word of mouth and people telling their friends, yo, you need to get into Bitcoin, or hey, you need to get into, like, the reason I ever got into Bitcoin was years ago. One of my buddies was just pounding the table every single day every time I saw him.
So
So
that
I
means
think, like,
it
that's big.
first, right? That means he told you at first, and maybe you said, yeah, whatever. But it sounds like he was persistent.
I think
Exactly.
another
Yeah.
I think another reason is in December, especially near Christmas, we start to see a real big slowdown in the stock market. People, getting as many losses as they can to cover their taxes, and the short market dates. People love to trade. Period. So I think that also is, but that's just a secondary effect. I agree with what you guys are saying. The holidays, people are getting together.
That's a good point about stocks and people, taking losses for tax reasons and things like that. And maybe that effort gets shunted over, if they're not trading as much or something like that, gets shunted over to crypto too.
Be sure to listen in to all of our weekly shows and follow us on Twitter for updates.